If you've ever seen an image with red eyes, it can be a little scary. So there's a really simple tool in Photoshop for getting rid of that. And it's here in this same section with our healing brush and the patch tool, right at the bottom, red eye tool. So if all you need to do with this is click into the area that has the red, and it's pretty much gone. You can choose up here some of the settings, so if it's darkening too much and you want to lower it, you could do that. I also want to point out in this video, under the paintbrush, you have a tool called the color replacement tool. And so let's first just look at this in comparison to the paintbrush. You guys are familiar with the paintbrush. Let's say, actually I'm going to go to another image here. Not that one. This one over here, you've already seen this portrait. And let's say I want to change the color of her lips. I want to intensify it a little bit. So first of all, I've made a selection, so I'm not going to be working directly on my original. Made a selection, and I'm going to put that selection on its own layer. So that's actually what I'm going to be working from. And if I wanted to intensify the color of her lips, and I took the paintbrush tool, I could paint and then lower the opacity of my paint so it kind of blends through, right? Like that's what we were doing with our first project. But there's this other tool, just go through my history panel and get rid of that. There's another tool that is called the color replace tool. And what this does is it keeps the integrity of your colors, highlights and shadows. I think it's actually a little easier to show you on this. So I'm going to recolor this girl's hair just so I can show you how it's going to make the darker areas a darker color and the lighter areas a lighter color. So I guess I'll just choose this red. So you see how it picks up the highlights and shadows of whatever color you're working on. So it works like the paintbrush, kind of works like the paintbrush in opacity, but it gives you a lot more depth to your image. So this could be a really good tool if you wanted to change the color of someone's lips or something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to work on this selection again. By the way, if you ever want to pull up your selection and make it active, all I did was while I was on this layer, I hit Control and I clicked my thumbnail, and now that selection is active again. All right, so now if I color this in, you can see that the shadow areas get darker, and the areas that are white highlights, they don't get colored in. All right, so definitely if you want to add some color intensify on a face, use this tool, the color replace tool, over just a regular old paintbrush. So this could also be really good for recoloring eyes. This is actually what was used before the red eye tool was made. I just darken that a little bit more. Before red eye tool, this was the tool that you would use to correct red eye. Okay, so those are two other tools that you might be able to find a little bit useful. In the next video, I'm going to go over how can you soften some wrinkles.